The ruling Democratic Party elected three-term lawmaker Han Byung-do as its new floor leader on Sunday, tasking him with stabilizing a party shaken by allegations. With his 4-month term now underway, attention has quickly turned to whether he can drive contentious special prosecution legislation through the National Assembly while managing political fallout ahead of June's local elections. For more, we're joined by our political correspondent Moon Hae-ryun. Welcome, Hae-ryun.
It's good to be here, Sujin.
It's good to have you. So first, let's look at how this leadership change came about. Why was Han Byung-do chosen, and what kind of situation is he now stepping into?
So Han Byung-do was elected as the DP's new floor leader on Sunday after a runoff vote against fellow three-term lawmaker Baek Hae-ryun, emerging as a compromise figure at a time when the party urgently needs some stability. The by-election was triggered by the resignation of former floor leader Kim Byung-gi, who stepped down amid allegations linked to illegal nomination donations. The fallout from those allegations has left the Democratic Party facing internal distrust and sustained attacks from the main opposition People Power Party, which has seized on the controversy to question the ruling party's legitimacy. Most recently, Han served as head of situation management during Lee's early presidential campaign, reinforcing his image as a trusted insider and crisis manager. His election signals the party's preference for control and damage limitation rather than experimentation. But with only 4 months left in the term, running through mid-May, Han has very little margin for error.
So one of Han's major tests came almost immediately at the National Assembly's first plenary session of the year. So what happened on the floor?
So the session quickly descended into a standoff as the Democratic Party moved to put the second comprehensive special prosecutor bill to a vote. The People Power Party launched a filibuster, accusing the ruling bloc of reviving past investigations for political gain ahead of local elections. The bill expands on previous investigations into the December 3rd emergency martial law incident and related cases, reopening areas that lawmakers argue were insufficiently examined during earlier probes. Last-minute talks under Speaker Woo Won-sik collapsed before Thursday afternoon session after the parties failed to bridge differences over how to handle a separate unification church probe. The opposition argued that unresolved disputes over that bill made it impossible to proceed, while the Democratic Party countered that the filibuster was designed to delay scrutiny into alleged insurrection and abuse of power.
The National Assembly's 2026 mission is to restore national integrity and justice undermined by Yoon Suk-yeol and Kim Gon-hee, and to normalize South Korea through strong livelihood and reform legislation.
What the public does not want is a far-fetched special prosecutor scheme to shield ruling party scandals and target the opposition for local elections.
So beyond the special prosecutor bills, what are the biggest challenges Han Byung-do faces during his short term?
So the challenge appears to be balancing speed with political damage control. Han's 4-month term overlaps with the run-up to the June 3rd local elections, the first nationwide electoral test for the Lee administration, at a time when the party is still dealing with fallout from its former floor leader. The Democratic Party says disciplinary procedures against former floor leader Kim Byung-gi, who was expelled by the party's ethics committee over multiple allegations, are expected to wrap up by the end of this month, with party leadership signaling that the process should move faster than internal rules normally allow. Any delay or perceived leniency could deepen public distrust, while aggressive moves risk fueling internal friction. At the same time, Han must juggle controversial reform legislation with mounting livelihood concerns, from housing prices to currency volatility, making his ability to stabilize both party discipline and public messaging critical in the weeks ahead. Han has pledged to turn the Assembly's focus back to stalled livelihood bills, as reflected in the plenary session that passed 11 such bread-and-butter bills, but how convincingly he can shift the narrative from political confrontation to economic delivery may ultimately define his short tenure.
We'll be following what happens in the days ahead and the months to come. So thank you for joining us today, Hae-ryun.
Thank you for having me, Sujin.